preparation breeds confidence.
Mm-hmm.
When you know what you're doing, when you trust the work you put in off the grass, once you touch grass, at that point you're playing lights out. You're not even thinking anymore. Your body is just your body's just in a flow state, right? Do you think that preparation breeding confidence? Do you think do you think that's what was missing from that 2023 Eagles defense? Because again, right, we saw games where they had peaks and they had valleys, and you had moments where they would shut down an offense in one half, and then they get killed in another half, and all of a sudden, second half of the season after the bye week, things kind of just nosedive. I mean, do you think that in particular is what was missing from that defense side of the ball, the preparation breeding confidence?
Well, I think it might have been, a little bit deeper than that. I think that they had confidence that they could find a way to win through the first 12 weeks, and they did that because they didn't win in any great fashion. A lot of those games that they won could have easily gone the other way. So they had confidence that they could find a way to win. But I felt like after they lost that game to San Francisco, that broke their will and it broke their spirit. The way that San Francisco said, "Hey, we are gonna come in here and we're gonna beat y'all down. Okay, we're gonna play a physical brand of football that y'all haven't seen." And they talked crap all week leading up to the game, and then they strolled in with their black shoes on, with their black sweats on, and walked through our drills and pretty much just punked us. And that destroyed not only their confidence, but it destroyed, their will. And things just went sideways from there. Then you have to you have to partner with that, the fact that, you had an offensive coordinator that had no answer for the blitz. And that destroyed confidence that Jalen Hurts had, because instead of them having sight adjustments and hot routes built into the offense, they were basically saying, "We're going to let the free runner come, Jalen. We want you to make that guy miss and then make a play down the field." Instead of hot routes and sight adjustments to hurry up and get the ball out and convert the third downs and make the defense play honest defense, they played right into the hands of every defense, and their game plan was to come in, and blitz Jalen and put him under pressure. And then on the defensive side of the ball, that was just, I thought the decision to, hand the reins over to Matt Patricia, was the breaking point, because I felt like that fractured the defense, because you certainly had guys that were Sean Desai guys. And then you had guys that were looking at the defense all year, realizing that they weren't as good as, they probably thought they were early in the season, and felt like what Sean Desai was asking them to do wasn't, the best route. So they welcomed the change. But the problem is, when you make a change like that, there's nothing that Matt Patricia could do to fix it, because the snowball was already rolling downhill 100 miles an hour, and there was no way to stop it, So all the little gadgets and tricks and adjustments that he tried to make, especially, once, Slay got hurt, and then you lost the young safety for the season. He tore his Achilles. Mm-hmm. Now you got all these young players on the field, and all the things that you've been working on since OTAs, since they got drafted. Now you throw them in the mix, and now you've got to figure out, they're learning on the fly. See, when I talk about preparation, you made a good point. You said the preparation, what you do on the field and what you do off the field, prepares you to be confident on the field. But a lot of that, you can't leave out how you practice. If you're not confidently practicing the game plan every single week, by the time you get to Sunday, that confidence isn't there either. So I've lived on both ends of the spectrum. I know what it is to go into games prepared and ready to dominate. But I also know what it's like to be underprepared or not prepared and go into a game. And every step that you take, you're wondering, is it the right step? So now you're always 1 or 2 steps behind. And on the defensive side of the ball, you cannot play that way. every step that you take, every move that you make has to be definitive. You've got to know in an anticipatory way what teams are trying to do and how they're trying to attack you. Because one step could be the difference between you being able to make a play or them being able to make a play that breaks your back. Yeah, those are important points. But you always practice how you play. And you heard Sidney Brown talk about it at the end of the year, that some guys, weren't, we don't practice physically, so we don't play physically. Then you heard, the grumblings about guys not being prepared and not going the extra mile, from Jalen Hurts. All of those things are very telling things that a lot of people hear. But unless you've been in that locker room, unless you played the game, you don't really understand the message that's being sent. There's a price to be paid for greatness. It's a price to be paid for success. And you got to, Jalen Hurts talk about the rinse due every day. Okay. There's some truth to that. I know people get tired of hearing it, but every single day when you walk into that facility, you got to pay the price in the locker room. You got to pay the price in the classroom. You got to pay the price on the field. And guess what? It ain't over when you leave the facility. You got to go home and pay the price at night by studying your game plan and making sure that you know what you need to do in every situation, that there's no ambiguity as to where you're supposed to be in every coverage, every blitz, every front, every run fit. It has to be there, and it's got to be there across the board, because all it takes is one guy to be out of position, one guy to make a mistake, and you're hurt. You got problems. So, there's a lot that went into it, but I do believe that San Francisco, and then you followed that up with, a beat down by Dallas, that pretty much destroyed any confidence, that they had, and it stole their will.